You're now recording. So we're both recording at this point.
We're both recording.
Oh, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. How are you? I always ask as if we hadn't just had a conversation about how we are, but how are you?
Grace, it is currently 5:10 p.m.
It is.
My mother picked me up from my apartment at noon. I got home 20 minutes ago. The plan with my mother today was to go to Costco because I needed dishwasher pods.
Oh,
this woman took me to Costco, 2 different Targets, to my parents' house twice, and we had lunch and Starbucks. I'm just really living the life.
Social.
Living the
you're
life.
Crazy.
So social.
Oh my God, you're
my
crazy. Yeah, you and your mother.
Good Lord.
A crazy day. Yeah, because we were supposed to record at like 2:30 and here we are now at 5:10 and you're like, hey, I'm home.
I know.
It's hard when your social life is thriving so much to be able to make time for little old me. I understand.
I'm so sorry.
Just partying way too hard, Miss Taya. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Oh. But also, like, how fun for you.
Yeah.
Like, how fun. I would love... I want to go to your parents' house. I want to pet your dog.
Oh,
I'm jealous.
Bernadette. I bet she would love that.
Oh, Bernadette. If she even remembers me.
Oh, she definitely would.
It's been so long. Oh, okay. We'll just swing by.
How are you?
But here we are. Oh, me. Work was busy. Work was a lot. But, I made it through. And now it's Friday. So here we are. Do I work on Saturday? Yes. But, here we are. It's Friday. CGIF, am I right? Am I right?
Am I right, ladies?
Oh, am I right? And you want to know who else? I don't know. I don't have one anymore. I need to think of these ahead of time. I never have a tie-in into the movie. I gave up on them for a little while, and I was like, it'd be fun to bring that back for this episode, but I have absolutely no tie-in to the movie. We watched Confessions of a Shopaholic.
We sure did.
That's the movie we watched.
Mm-hmm.
And... yeah, should we jump into it? Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's jump into it. Okay.
Okay.
So, the synopsis is, like many New York City gals, Rebecca Bloomwood loves to shop. The trouble is, she shops so much that she is drowning in debt. Rebecca would love to work at the city's top fashion magazine, but so far has not been able to get her foot in the door. Then she lands a job as an advice columnist for a financial magazine owned by the same company. Her column becomes an overnight success, but her secret threatens to ruin her love life and career. And it has 27% on Rotten Tomatoes and 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. That's pretty good.
Okay. I wasn't expecting the percentage to be that low though on Rotten Tomatoes.
I wasn't either, because I feel like it was kind of a big deal when it came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, because as always, I looked up the budget in the box office, and the budget, first of all, was $44 million, which I believe because of how many big name actors were surprisingly in this movie. But like Isla Fisher is the main person, and then the guy who voices Pacha is her dad. I don't know his actual name.
Oh, yeah. What is his name? Mr. Disney, John Goodman.
Yeah. And then the lady that voices the ugly duckling in Chicken Little was the mom.
Oh, Joan Cusack.
Yeah, her.
I love her.
Like they had Fred Armisen. Like they had a lot of people in this movie. But anyways, yeah, budget was $44 million, but in the box office it made $108.3 million. So it wasn't not a good movie. Like it did well. Mm-hmm. And also I don't know if this is like a sign of success or not, but we watched this for free on YouTube with ads, as we do very commonly with these movies. But I don't know if you had this experience, but for me, this movie, it was like every 5 minutes there was an ad. Whereas like other ones, I don't know, maybe it's just my bad luck and YouTube really just likes to milk money out of me. But like with our other like free YouTube movies, it's like, oh, one ad every like 20 minutes. But this time around, it was literally like every 5 minutes I was on another ad break. Because I feel like they were like, this one's actually a good movie, so we are giving it to you for free, but you will give us a bunch of ad revenue from it. I don't know.
Interesting.
Did you not have that experience?
Didn't have any ads at all, but that might be because I watched it on my computer and I have an ad blocker on.
Oh, that will probably do it. I do not.
Keep that a secret because I don't think you're supposed to have those.
Nobody tell. If you're a true fan, you won't tattle on Taya. But that honestly, that is quite the synopsis. It is very well-rounded and very the whole movie. Like sometimes these synopses that are just like, there's a girl in it.
And
but this one really is very, yeah, there's a girl and a friend. But this time, that was very much like basically the full movie, I have to say. So yeah, it starts off a little bit of it's just, a whole little monologue thing where basically Rebecca, the main girlie played by Isla Fisher, just explains, I like to spend money because my parents didn't, but I do. And, it starts off with oh, okay. I forgot about this part. So yeah, basically it starts off with a mini monologue while she's shopping about, I love to shop. Nothing too deep about it. Then we see her at her office because she's a journalist, and she starts off in the movie, she's working at a gardening magazine, which, not the vibe. She does not like gardening. She does not like the outdoors. Not the vibe. But again, like the little synopsis said, she wants to work at the big fashion magazine in New York City called Elle. And basically she got an interview for Elle, but by the time she gets to the interview, it had already been fulfilled internally by one of their employees that they already have. So she didn't get the job, goes back to her actual job, and what do you know? Her job's going under.
Oh, no.
The gardening magazine's not gonna make it.
Oh, no, not the gardening magazine. Which
the gardening magazine
thrive right now, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
It would be amazing. You know how many people who love plants, me included, would be a subscriber of that?
You're like, it would be successful because I would subscribe.
Me surrounded by all of my plants. If you're viewing this on YouTube, you can see this part of the collection, a very small amount. But I love a good plant. I don't know that.
I mean, it's a great time.
Yeah.
A good plant is a good time. I love plants. However, I'm too forgetful to have them.
Oh, no.
I'm too forgetful. You just got to be brutally honest with myself. And I don't want to be the murderer of a bunch of plants. That would be very heavy on my conscience. That'd be very heavy on my conscience. But then back to the movie. Let me see. Oh, there was an important thing that I did kind of forget, but it doesn't really matter the order. Before she went to this interview that she didn't end up getting to have, she was shopping because, of course, this girl loves to shop. And the thing that she saw that, she's a material girl to the absolute maximum. If this was a new movie, the amount of times that song would play in it, too many. Too many. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't even play the Madonna version in this.
They probably didn't get the rights to it.
Yeah, probably not. But she was going shopping before she went to the interview at Elle. That didn't end up going her way, obviously. But while she was there, she saw this green scarf. And she really, really wanted it, but she couldn't afford it. She was like $20 short after spreading it amongst all of her like 7 credit cards and the cash that she had. She couldn't pay for it. So she went out to a hot dog stand to try to get cash back via a check. at a hot dog stand. Like, that does kind of show this was filmed in 2009. And she can't get the cash back or whatever. And this random man named Luke, who is one of the main characters, she doesn't know him yet at this point, just was so tired of listening to her trying to get cash back from a hot dog stand because he just wanted his hot dog. He just wanted to get out of there. You know, he's a classic New Yorker. He just wants his hot dog and he wants to get out. He just gives her the $20 and it's like, goodbye, just get out of my face. So she takes the money, goes and buys this scarf, and when she is notified that the interview is canceled, the very LGBT seeming, very queer coded front desk man, he basically says, like, well, just because you couldn't get into Alette doesn't mean you couldn't get into a different magazine here, and if you work at just any of the magazines here, you're very likely to be able to move up to Alette, which is why she then interviews and ends up getting the job for the finance magazine that was brought up in the discussion. However, when she goes into her little finance magazine interview, the silly joke of it all, obviously, is that she's not good with money. But also, Mr. Luke, the hot dog man, is the person interviewing her. And he sees her wearing the, oh my God, marzipan's in the background. Hey, queen! Oh my goodness, I love her so much. Also, when she was trying to get the money back so she could buy the scarf, she was making all these excuses about it's for my great aunt who died. So he sees the scarf and is like, you're a little bit of a liar, but still hires her for the position. Which, you know, that's on him.
Have you noticed, going back to the guy at the desk? So yeah. I had my girlfriend and our friend over, our gay boyfriend. His name is Stone. Yeah. I love him. We were all sitting on my couch watching Shrek 2.
Okay.
Have you noticed, going back to movies I want to say like 2012, 2013, how all of the queer-coded characters hold all of the knowledge for all the parts of the movies? I'm so fascinated by this because in Shrek 2, the people that hold the knowledge are the lady at the saloon that like has the very deep voice, you know, like that character, that one character.
The ugly stepsister?
Yes, the ugly stepsister.
You think that she's queer coded? I mean, I guess.
Yes, she holds.
Yeah, of course she is.
All of the knowledge for Puss in Boots. Oh my God,
that's true.
And everybody working at the front desk for the fairy godmother.
That's true.
Yeah, they all hold the knowledge for it. Hi, Marzipan.
Marzipan.
Marzipan is coming to say hello. I'm currently talking to her butt because that's where my microphone is. And in this movie, the guy at the front desk, obviously a queerio, is holding all of the knowledge for this company. And gets her to where she needs to be. I need research done on this about
this is true.
Queer-coded people and why they're the smartest people in every movie. Because I think it's true even in real life that queer people are the smartest people.
We hold the knowledge.
We
know the things. We build stuff. We get things done.
There's so many things that we don't have to worry about, so it just makes us smarter.
We're just better.
It's true.
I mean, absolutely no bias going into that. But
sorry to all the straight people out there that listen to us.
all two of you, very sorry. So sorry. But yeah, that is an interesting thought. I recently also watched Shrek 2. However, I did not have the same come to Jesus moment that you did. I love to hear it. Genuinely though, that's a really funny thought. I really thought I had such a big brain blast when I was like, you know, Carl Weezer and Jennifer Coolidge sound similar. Meanwhile, you're like queer-coded characters, and like you've got like such deeper thoughts than me. I'm just like, two voices sound similar.
I need to research it and then write a paper on it because I feel like something could really happen there.
You could really, really do something. You could change the game. Absolutely. breaking boundaries. I don't think I would have the energy for that. Now that I'm a college graduate, I typically try to avoid writing any sort of a paper, but you know, you go for it. You're still in school. You've got that kind of energy.
Yes. Well, I am on spring break, so I do have quite a bit of time on my hands. It is Friday of my spring break though, so it's coming to an end. I know, I'm really sad about it. It's like it's my last ever spring break, Grace.
Oh, that's sad.
My last one for my entire life. And what did I do? I worked.
Oh,
I know.
How rude. Mm-hmm. How absolutely rude.
Very rude.
Well, I have it worse because I already had my last spring break and mine's already done.
Damn.
So
I'm so sorry for you.
It's like that, what's the SNL character that Kristen Wiig does where she's just, Penelope, where she's just like, yes, I'm just like a little bit better than you. Oh, I absolutely love her. Shout out to, she's kind of underground, but Kristen Wiig, she's pretty funny. If you haven't heard of her, maybe look her up. If you haven't heard of Kristen Wiig, give it a Google.
Yeah, give it a Google. Definitely someone that's underground that no one has ever heard of. Thank you very much. Have I ever told you?
She's got a few indie flicks,
how my dad,
like Bridesmaids.
Yeah. Have I ever told you how my dad calls her Kristen Wiig? Because he insists that it's German.
You haven't, but I could see it. I could see that. Oh, God. Just getting very technical up in here. Mm-hmm. Kristen Wiig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says a few things wrong. He also says, Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, I do. I've heard of her.
He sometimes refuses to read names all the way through. So in his brain, it's Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
So she's been Zooey Deschanel my entire life.
Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Bringing her back around.
Bringing it back around because we somehow got to the very indie underground comedian that no one's ever heard of named Kristen Wiig. So then we're also introduced to Rebecca's best friend named Suze, who I don't remember that actress's name either, but she's also like semi-big. I recognized her at least. I knew her face. But Suze is her best friend and her roommate. And we find out because she keeps getting a bunch of, bills in the mail and a bunch of calls from a debt collector named Derek Smith. Suze is like, you know what, girl, we got to figure out how much money you owe. Like, we've got to figure this out. Comes to be over $16,200 in debt because she just cannot stop buying clothes, which, I understand wanting clothing. I love purchasing clothing. It is genuinely like one of the things it is the thing I buy the most often, probably, like other than food. It's the only like non-essential that I'm very guilty of buying too much of. But $16,000? Oh, girl. That's a problem.
I can't say that's a hard thing to do, but ever since my brain has switched from like buying fast fashion to thrifting for most of the time, that's a lot of money to spend on clothes. And then thing. Where do you put it? Like, I understand that they went into her closet and it was like literally bursting, but yeah, I just don't, do people do that anymore? I don't know. Maybe I just live in a liberal bubble and people just like actually thrift all the time. But like, do people spend that much money on clothes besides like a fucking Canada Goose coat or something?
Yeah, well, I guess that is the thing for me too, is I also very commonly like will thrift, or if there's like something that I do really like from a website, I will patrol it until it's like dropped significantly in price, kind of a thing. Like one of the shirts I wore a few episodes back, I like waited until it was like 50% off, but then I was like, there you go, I'll take it. Like, yeah, well, and just also the thought of just running credit cards, like not even like using like a debit card, but a credit card for all of that clothes. Like, I mean, yeah, with a credit card and the unlimited bounds or less limiting bounds of a credit card, I can see it, but also maybe it's because she lives in New York. You know what I mean? She lived in New York before thrifting was considered a cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. So she's just out here getting all of the like labels and brand names and things. So, I mean, yeah. Anyways, her and Suze figure it out. And the whole time that they're like doing the math to figure out how in debt she is, they are both drinking. And while drunk, instead of, like drunk emailing or drunk texting, I couldn't remember the character's name for a second. Rebecca decides to drunkenly write a letter to both Alette magazine for not giving her an interview, as well as the finance magazine, because initially he actually didn't give her the job. But the drunken letter that she wrote to him, he thought was really good. And then he hired her based off of her drunken consciousness. He hires her. She's able to get the letter before Alette is able to read it. Also, the owner of Alette is named Alette. So that's why it sounds sometimes like I'm saying the magazine, but I'm also saying a person. It's whatever. Now you know. But yeah, that's how she gets the job, is literally from a drunken letter where she was like, screw you guys for not giving me a chance. I'm a great writer. And then he's like, you know what? You got me. You are. It just works. And he just calls her in. And she gets it.
Is that not the way the world works, Grace? Have you never heard of that?
No, I have not heard of getting hired off of a drunken handwritten letter, but I might just be also living in a bubble, and that might be on me. But yeah, then Rebecca, where? I'm skipping over like a few scenes that just are absolutely unnecessary for the. Oh, we find out after her first day of work, Rebecca and Suze are at a bookstore, and while they're at the bookstore, Suze lets her know that she is now engaged. So Suze now has this wedding that's like getting planned and is kind of important for the storyline going forward. And while they're at the bookstore, Borders, to be specific, got that. Well,
that's ancient.
I know. That's another one where I was like, that does tell you the tale of the times, doesn't it? Yeah, they're at a Borders store, and Suze gets Rebecca a DVD that's like a self-help thing of, do you spend too much money? Are you a shopaholic? And then after that, also the guy that is in the video that's like, are you a shopaholic? You've got problems and like all this stuff. He's like one of the guys from The Office. I don't remember his actual name, but again, it was just another like, oh, okay, sure. It's just another moment where I was like, yeah, I bet your budget was $44 million. You have so many people in this movie, because he's only in it for like 5 minutes maybe, but like y'all really put in the money to get him specifically for this like tiny little part.
I'm curious. I know The Devil Wears Prada came out 3 years before, but I'm curious if they were trying to go off of the buzz of that. And that one had Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep, and it was kind of a really big deal. I'm curious if they were trying to bring it to that level of New York fashion movie.
I could see that. I didn't make that connection mentally, but like I could see that. They also had, wait, who else was the person in, like, John Krasinski's wife?
Stanley
Tucci. What's
her
name? Well, yeah, him too. She was the like new Mary Poppins or whatever.
Oh, yes. Emily Blunt.
Yes, they also had Emily Blunt in that movie. Yeah, I guess you could say this was kind of just like the more lighthearted version of that in a way. There's some similarity. I mean, the stories are still pretty different, but I could see that. I did not think of that. But yeah, Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, there were just a lot of it was like a whole genre for a few years where it was just like New York fashion movies and like really digging into why the whole industry is like a little bit problematic, just a tad.
Oh, they were so woke for that. They were so woke. But then The movie continues, believe it or not. It keeps moving. And basically, she writes her first piece for this finance magazine, but it is clearly garbage because she does not know what she's talking about. And it was very obviously written basically word for word from a dummies book, like one of those, it was like finance for dummies books. So she's not getting off on a good foot. Not a great writer when it comes to finances. Believe it or not. A girl that doesn't know anything about finances was not good at writing about finances.
Who would have thought?
Oh my God, basically everyone. It's almost like Luke made a big mistake. But, I will be proven wrong. She ends up being a great hire. Well, what a shock. But because he sees that she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about and doesn't really understand what she's doing there, he brings her to this conference that just happens to be happening. Very movie magic-esque, where he was like, I know the perfect thing to make her suddenly a good writer. He brings her to this conference basically where like the head of some company is talking about like, oh, our company's doing so well or whatever, and he forces her in the middle of the conference where the man is not even done talking. Like, it is not time for the journalist to be asking questions. He forces her to stand up and basically expose to the crowd that he had been taking, the guy that was speaking had taken extra bonuses the last year despite the fact that investors had been losing money. So his whole point was like, there's always an interesting story within financial things that typically seem boring. I don't know why he had to force her to embarrass herself in front of a whole crowd to get that point across. He probably could have just told her the story, but movie magic, gotta make it dramatic. And after that, he then gives her like another chance to write and is like, give me something that is a story, not just like a definition of finances. Like, make it fun, make it approachable, make it interesting. Then we cut to our first introduction of a character named Ryan, but it is played by Fred Armisen, and it's very hard to take seriously just because it's him.
It's so funny. That was like my only note that I had for this entire movie was I have never seen Fred Armisen so serious. And maybe he did like some kind of serious character in Portlandia, but if that happened...
But it's Portlandia.
It was so odd, and it was almost like not okay.
Yeah, he was like this serious boss that was like, numbers. Like, so serious. I was like, excuse me, Freddie.
Yes, Fred.
Sir, what is that? But it's our first introduction to Ryan, who basically, throughout the movie is very, I don't like Rebecca. She is not good. Get rid of her. And Luke is on the other side like, she is good.
Sir, mister.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm right and you're wrong, and same back.
I love her.
Yeah, literally. Oh my God, spoiler alert. Can you believe Luke and Rebecca?
Sorry, but
how
they
dare
gave it
you?
away at the very beginning when they met at the hot dog stand. You know that exactly what's going to happen, and but it's not like you don't want it to happen. You do kind of want it to happen.
Yeah.
You want her to mellow out and you want him to calm down, which is basically the same thing, but different ways.
Yeah. Because she's very like hyper, whereas he's like too tense. But it's a predictable movie, but I'd still say it's enjoyable overall. But anyways, Ryan is introduced, and it's basically again just it's the first introduction to him, and the first introduction of him basically being like, I don't think you did a good job, and Luke being like, she's gonna do great. And basically he had given her a due date, I guess, of just like later that day, like have a story to me by 3:30 or whatever. And she feels all rejuvenated after her first little discussion with him and going to that weird conference thing. But then she ends up getting distracted and she shops instead of writing. That was a horribly put together sentence. She shops instead of writes. She goes shopping instead of writing.
There we
That's
go.
how I
You
should have
got
said
it.
it.
You
I got there
eventually
eventually. I did it. My communications major is going to work. I used it. Yes. Yes. What's up? I got it. I thought something had happened. I thought Marzipan was like doing something.
No, she is walking around, but there's nothing wrong happening on my end.
Oh, thank goodness, you scared me.
Sorry.
But ugh. So, you know, it's just she's basically proving him wrong. But then out of nowhere, so he's like, "Excuse me, where's my story?" And she just doesn't respond. But then she writes it and turns it in the next day anyways. I don't know what the drama was all for, but anyways, she gets in a new story and it's actually very good. It's actually good this time. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The next morning, because then not only does he like it, but it does get published in the magazine and people absolutely love it. And she is publishing her stories now in this finance magazine under the alias of the girl in the green scarf. You know, just a little nod back to the beginning with her little hot dog scarf moment. And yeah, basically everybody loves it. Readers love it. They think it's so much more fun than anything that's been in this magazine. Some like boss of their boss, like the guy that owns the magazine company, even loves it. And he's like, he's initially like introduced to be kind of like a hard ass, but he's just not. Like the whole movie, he's super, super nice. So they didn't really do a good job of like setting up that like, oh, he's hard to impress. Cause like the whole movie, he just gushes over Rebecca the whole time, but he's supposedly a tough critic. But at this point, I did mention a little earlier a man named Derek Smith, who is a debt collector. Back when they were first, Susan and Rebecca were trying to figure out how much money she owes. But he now kind of comes back in and is a very important point of contention for our woman of the hour, Miss Isla Fisher / Rebecca. Again, he is a debt collector, but he's a very aggressive one. And she obviously, as a person who works in a finance magazine, does not want people to know that she is literally in debt. Correct. By a lot. And while this meeting is happening and she's getting all of this praise, all of this glory, everybody's loving her, Derek Smith rings. Derek Smith, the debt collector, rings. And
in perfect Hollywood timing.
Oh, perfect Hollywood timing. And right as the phone call is about to literally get like blasted to everyone in the meeting, she jumps across the table and basically makes up this whole lie that he is a ex that has been stalking her. So now at this point, the front desk lady and Luke are like, oh, absolutely not. Derek Smith will never get in here. And for now, she's protected with that lie.
It's a pretty good lie. I gotta say, that's a pretty clever one.
Well, yeah, because she also was like, oh, and he calls himself a debt collector so that he can get through to people. Like, Genius. That's how it is. It really is. Amazing. I was honestly like, okay, plausible. Because a lot of times in movies like this, you know, they'll make something up that's so stupid that like no one would have ever believed to begin with. Like she tells a lot of other lies throughout the movie that are like so unbelievable. Like she tells so many lies to Derek Smith to be like, oh, my great aunt just fell from a roof, so I can't pay my debt right now. Like those are the kinds of excuses. Or she like lies about knowing Finnish, the language, and like she tells the stupidest lies throughout the rest of the movie. But this one, not bad. Golf claps for you, I must say. But yeah, so she dodges that bullet temporarily, and then the other thing that just happens in this moment is Rebecca is invited to an important conference in Miami by Luke, which we'll get to in a little bit. And when is the first? I'm just trying to remember. Throughout this movie, she goes to a bunch of like Shopaholic anonymous meetings, and I don't remember when the first one was, but we'll get there at some point, I guess.
You really have this whole movie written
I always
out.
do. I always do.
And I'm always so
I
impressed,
always
Grace.
do. I hope it's not too much. I really do try to condense it down. It is tough.
You're very thorough, and I appreciate it.
Meanwhile, your notes, you said Fred Armisen is serious? Question mark.
I'm
How
not
goofy.
lying to you. That is my only note that I took for the entire movie. Usually I have a lot more, but I was very engulfed, I must say. But yeah, that's my only real note that I took for the entire movie.
Well, what am I here for otherwise, you know?
I don't know.
You know, what am I here for? But yeah, then Susan Rebecca, Susan's getting her wedding dress, and Rebecca is talking to her, and basically Suze, at this point, Suze is just again pushing her to like, girl, deal with your debt. This is embarrassing. What the heck is wrong with you? And it's the first time that we're kind of introduced to like Rebecca maybe liking Luke, because like as she explains that she's going to the conference, Suze is like, oh my God, do you like this man? And Rebecca's like, oh my God, maybe. So, you know, big deal. It was such a shock. I was thrown out of my seat. Yeah, absolutely insane. And there was a character that I have not introduced yet, because none of the things she was in earlier were like fully important, but she is an important character. Her name is Alicia, and basically she is the person within Alette magazine that got the job that initially Rebecca wanted to get. So she basically is the person that like Rebecca wishes she was, kind of a thing. And at this point now, we know that Rebecca has a little bit of a crushy crush on Luke, and Alicia, like the slithering snake in the grass that she is, at work one day in the elevator, basically starts to hit on Luke and says that they should get dinner, and that will come back up. But now we're at the conference, and things are going well initially. Rebecca, and there's like a bunch of different introductions that Rebecca has to a bunch of people in the room, which honestly, I'm not fully certain who all these people were. It was like people that like ran ads in their magazine, and like, you know, a few other people that you'd want to impress. And basically she like says all of the wrong things to these people, but they all find it hilarious, and they love like how real she is. So despite the fact that she literally slaps a man in the face and basically tells a bank that they're stupid and should have like cooler windows, they all love her, and everything goes great on that end.
She's the Gen Z of this millennial party.
Yeah, she literally can do no wrong in any of their eyes. But the most important thing that happens, other than all of these weird conversations that should have gone up in flames, but actually made people love her. Again, she slapped a person, and he was like, wow, I like her. No, get no. Anyways, she does get a phone call from, can you guess who? Who? Derek Smith.
Oh.
Derek Smith. She gets a phone call from Mr. Derek, and she like accidentally picks it up because she was super busy and didn't look at her phone before she answered. And this was again one of the moments where she like makes up some stupid lie. She literally, I think it was specifically that her great aunt had gone skydiving and the parachute didn't work. Oh my God, I've got to go. And after she hangs up, she records a ringtone on her phone specifically for Derek Smith that is just, do not answer. This is Derek Smith. So the next time that he calls, that would blast out loud. And what do you know? This will bite her in the booty later on.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, but we'll get back to that. But yeah, Derek basically on the phone call just is like, you absolutely need to pay me by Monday. I mean, just again, same stuff he always says, give me my money. And she says, no. Then Rebecca and Luke have a little bit of a conversation outside, and they're setting up this ball that's like coming up later, and Rebecca and Luke are just talking about it. I don't understand why a magazine company is having a ball, other than the fact that, like, you know, for this movie, it's just, I don't know, just like the Cinderella aspect of it all, of, oh, there's a ball later. yeehaw, or like it almost feels like they just didn't really know what else to make. You know, it's like for like a high school movie where they're like, OMG, the dance is coming up, you know, like it was very much that kind of a thing. And this is one of many moments where you can tell that Rebecca wants to open up to Luke and tell him about her debt, but she doesn't end up doing it. And they actually then end up going shopping together instead. Because she's like, no, sir, you have the ugliest suits. We need to go get you a tuxedo. So they go to a tuxedo store. And while there, she and Luke kind of like open up to each other a little bit. And she finds out that Luke, secretly this whole time, she thought he was just a regular schmegula man. He is the son to very rich people, and his mom is some famous New York socialite or something. And so basically he has all these connections, he has all this money, but he doesn't act like he does. He is making his way on his own and
making
blah,
his
blah,
way
blah.
downtown, walking fast, faces path, and I'm homebound.
You could say. It's the typical like, oh, I didn't know you were a prince. Who knew? Oh my goodness, you're so humble. Yet it's like you have so many connections and you are so privileged.
Yeah,
but
I love it. As someone who goes to a art school, it's always so funny to just meet people like that. You know what I mean? I meet people like that every day, where it's like that. Anyway,
you know who it's giving?
Who?
Axel Weber. Yet again,
Oh,
it's
God,
fully giving Axel Weber. we can move on from him, but like it fully is the like, I moved to New York to cosplay as someone who can't afford things, but I can. But anyways, but this is him opening up to her, so that's that scene. And after that, I don't even understand why this scene happens, but Luke and Rebecca are at like a street market. He buys her a fan and they dance, and it's weird. I don't know, like this is your boss, and they're just like, I don't even know what the dance would be called, like a salsa dance or something. But then she starts using the fan and like dancing all around really weirdly. I feel like it was just meant for comedic relief, but I was just left a little confused. She literally like fans her butt at one point as if she like farted or something. I was like, because I thought we were going to record yesterday. I was very behind on like getting to watching this movie. So I'm like trying to like get through this movie as fast as possible. And then this scene happens and I look up and she's just like fanning her ass. And I was like, what? Oh, this is what I was stressed about. I mean, yeah, it is funny, but it was such a like, that was not needed at all, but it was a good laugh.
I appreciate that it's there.
Yeah, I did appreciate that it was there. It was unnecessary, but it was fun. It was a good little moment. But anyways, then, Alicia. Alicia's back. Luke and Rebecca arrive back at the hotel, and of course, Alicia comes in and ruins the vibe because Luke and Rebecca had been getting along so well all day. Rebecca with her little crushy crush was like, oh my God, this is so great. But then Alicia is like, so Luke, let's go get that dinner that we said we were going to get. And Rebecca is crushed and just goes back up to her room, and then the trip's over. But yeah, this is just, Alicia's just being so mean and so conniving. She's just so rude. Oh my God. Someone's like clearly walking their dog right by my apartment. I heard the dog. Oof, hello. It just completely broke me out of my focus. But anyways, now we get back to New York and Rebecca is back home, and here we go. We're about to get to our first Shopaholics Anonymous meeting. I thought I had missed it, but this is when we get to our first one.
It does come in very late in the movie.
It does. And then it's suddenly so important. It's one of those things that you would have thought would have been just like throughout the movie she was going to Shopaholics Anonymous, but it doesn't come up until now. But basically when she gets home, Derek Smith is at the front door, so she has to like hide and like sneak in the back, and Susan's like, that's it, you're going to a meeting. And she does. And it's just, the classic, what's your name? Tell us your story. And they go around and there's a few people that tell goofy little stories about like, oh, I had to buy 7 watches. I needed one for each day of the week. And with it being her first meeting, she's not ready to change and she just leaves. She doesn't tell her story or anything. And we get a silly, goofy little scene right after Shopaholics Anonymous. She, I guess, had frozen her credit card in a hunk of ice, and she's digging it out. Then she's at a store, and but the thing is, she's at the store right after her first SA meeting. That sounds bad. That is an abbreviation for something else, but Shopaholics Anonymous meeting.
I hope they don't call it that.
I hope not.
What did they call it in Trinkets?
Trinkets?
Yeah, haven't you seen that movie about the 3 teens that all meet because they go to a meeting for people that steal?
No, I have not seen I haven't, but that's been requested to me. Mina definitely told me to watch that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mina.
Of course they did. Of course they have watched it. It was
I'm
made
just now
for
realizing.
Them. Not because they steal, but because it's definitely their type of genre.
Yeah. This is my apology, Mina, if you are listening. I promise I'll get to it someday. But after she has dug her credit card out of the block of ice, she sees the Shopaholics Anonymous meeting leader at a store. Oh, how embarrassing. The Shopaholics lady still being a shopaholic. Oh my God. Can you imagine the drama? Can you?
No, I can't. But
No.
I also did watch the movie, so I can.
Yeah, fair enough. Then it transitions. Yeah, it was very dramatic. I've never been more shocked in my life. But then the next scene cuts very abruptly back over to Rebecca's work life, and they're at the ball, the ball for the magazine people, because apparently those exist. And everyone's arriving, yada yada. She tries to prepare herself mentally, but gets psyched out because Alicia obviously has to mess with her a little bit. So she goes to the bathroom. And I guess her jacket had a bunch of like marbles on it because they all fall off. And so her jacket's ruined and she can't wear it anymore. But the thing is, the dress she decided to wear to this here ball looks exactly like the dresses that all of the waitresses are wearing. Mm-hmm. So all the people around her, what are the odds? What are the odds? And so now all of a sudden, all these people are like giving her orders for food and she's fumbling through and it's so silly, so goofy. And it's another one of those moments where, again, like she should have been like in so much trouble and like had so many problems. But once she finally gets to the table that she was supposed to sit at with Alette, Alicia, Luke, the main boss of the whole magazine and everything, they all think it's so silly, so goofy, so funny. And Luke also helps her kind of get out of the situation. And basically it makes everybody love her again. Because she's the golden child, basically. Every time something goes wrong, everybody just thinks it's so silly and fun. Then we have a little scene where Rebecca and Luke are out on like the balcony, I guess, of the building. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved my life. And he's like, oh my God, no worries. And she's like, oh, your girlfriend's back in there. And he's like, that's not my girlfriend. And they kiss. They kiss.
Who saw it coming? Nobody saw it coming.
I might have seen it coming.
Oh, dang it.
I know. What can I say? I've got a big brain. I've got the biggest brain out there. It's just, it's what I do. It's what I do. What can I say?
Big. You got an X-ray and you frame it and you put it on your credenza.
Yes, exactly.
And then your mother comes out with a platter of olive tapenade and you eat it with crackers. Do you know what I'm talking about? I really want you to know what I'm talking about.
I wish I did.
iCarly.
I was just going along with it.
I know you see.
I know iCarly, but I didn't. That's a very specific reference.
It's like the episode with Neville.
I know he says you'll rue the day. Like anytime I hear the word rue, I think of that. I don't remember his Olive Tapenade rant.
He said, my brain is so big, and then he shows a framed picture of the x-ray of his brain and how big it is. And then his mom feeds everybody Olive Tapenade.
You got me. You got me. My brain may be big, but it's not as big as Neville's.
You need to rewatch that show, Grace.
Okay. I do have a Paramount Plus account, so I suppose I could. I do.
Oh my God, you're like rolling in all the streaming services. Look at you.
I'm a big baller.
I am not that big of a baller.
It's like the only one I actually pay for, but
wow.
Wow. Any hosies. Next day, she comes into work. She's feeling like a baller because she got her man. She's all happy, but then, would you believe it?
What?
Derek Smith is walking into the office at the same time as her, and she's trying to hide.
He is not.
Yes, he is, Taya. I would never lie to you. I'm telling you, I wouldn't. And she gets into the elevator. It seems like she's escaped, but of course, he gets in the elevator last second as it's closing. He doesn't recognize her, though. I don't know that he had ever seen her in person, but he does get into the elevator, and he calls her. He tries to call Rebecca, and do you remember? She recorded that very specific ringtone that says, "Do not answer, this is Derek Smith."
Yes. I do remember.
He calls her on that elevator. She is exposed.
Oh.
She's exposed, and she is exposed. So she has to run out of that elevator as fast as she possibly can, gets up to her office in the nick of time. And of course, she had already told her very decent lie that was her ex-boyfriend who pretends to be a debt collector so that he can get to her. She just makes it in the nick of time. He gets kicked out of the building, and she has had a brush with death once more. And in this moment, she actually finds out, after he gets kicked out and everything, she actually finds out that Alette was very intrigued and wanted to get to know her and was going to give her a chance. Therefore, then Rebecca kind of goes to... Rebecca goes with Alette, and Alette basically just kind of gives her one little test that's do you actually have really good style? Make an outfit. She makes a good one. Alicia, however, is getting very butthurt. And while Rebecca and Alette are looking at clothes, which Rebecca is forced to pay for, which makes no sense. You'd think the magazine owns the clothes that they have, but I guess not. But Alicia is kind of back in the other room, and she goes through Rebecca's phone, and Derek Smith calls. So she finds out and now knows Rebecca's secret, which is the worst. The worst person knows her secret. The worst person.
Terrible.
Horrible. Horrible. No good, very bad. Mm-hmm. All bad. But so now that kind of sets up something bad's gonna happen. Yada yada. Right after, she has to buy, and she buys the dress that she picked out when she was with Alette because I guess this magazine network also has a TV network, and they wanted Rebecca, who now was a very big deal. Everybody loves her column. They wanted her to do an interview on TV, and Alette wanted her to wear the dress that she chose, so she had to buy it. And right afterwards, though, Rebecca goes to a Shopaholics Anonymous meeting again, but the problem is she now has this, shopping bag. No goods, very bad. You shouldn't have it. But she has that shopping bag as well as a shopping bag with a bridesmaid's dress that she recently got for Sue's. It's butt ugly. It is a butt ugly dress.
I thought it was kind of fun. It was
it's
pink
fun,
with
but
multicolor
to
underneath.
It's silly, it's goofy, it's fun, but to her, it was very butt ugly, you know, like between the two, she would very clearly want to keep the one that she bought for Alette. That will come back up in like 2 seconds. But she goes to the Shopaholics meeting and there's a new woman that's walking in and she was like, oh my God, could I actually hide these bags in your car? It would look, you know, kind of bad if I walked in with these bags. And the woman's like, oh, no worries. Come to find out, that new lady was the new leader of Shopaholics Anonymous. She had exposed herself from the beginning, and that new leader meant business. Oof. I have no clue what her name was, but she's another actress that I recognized. And I was like, literally, all of the money for this movie went to all of these actors. Oh, my goodness. And immediately, this new leader that means business was like, we're getting rid of these clothes that you bought. We're giving them away. Woo! But, of course, you know, Rebecca's like, I actually need these. Don't give them away. It's for a wedding and it's for work. You can't give these away. But she doesn't believe her and forces her to give them away anyways. So then right after the meeting, Rebecca has to go to the, I'm guessing, like Goodwill-esque store and is like, hey, I need those back. But they were like, you must pay us. And she only had enough money to pay for one of the dresses, not both. Ends up choosing the one for the work because, I mean, she kind of needed it. She was going to be on TV the next day. But that means she left the one with more sentimental value at the store.
Oh, no. A big fiasco. A very large fiasco.
The largest. I can't even, my arms are not big enough to describe how large this fiasco is. So then it's the next day. She's having her TV.
Yeah.
Rebecca's having her TV. I was trying to say TV and debut like at the same time. So I was about to say I could feel myself about to say TB review.
Oh,
and I was like, that is not correct. I caught myself.
Not even close.
No, not at all. But then Rebecca is, you know, next day having her TV review.
You got it. No. You got it. You can do it, Grace.
Rebecca is having her TV debut.
Yo, you got there.
She's having it the next day. And it's going really well at first. Until it doesn't. Because guess who's in the audience?
Oh, no. Could it be? Let him know. Let him know.
Derek Smith. Derek Smith is in the audience. And he basically pulls what she did at the little conference before. And he stands up and he gives them the business. He's like, silly goofy. Excuse me, you guys. You're taking financial advice from someone that is $16,000 in debt and exposes her to everyone. Exposes her. And at first Luke is like, excuse me, this is her ex. And he basically makes a joke that's like, excuse me, I'm ugly and she's pretty. We would never be exes. And then Luke is like, oh, you're right. And
I love how I love how the whole audience just believes him. Because in what world would you be on live television with somebody from a credit card company calling you out on the microphone? First of all, they would take the microphone away, which they did try to do, but then he was a big baby about it and shoved him out of the way. Second of all, why would you believe him? He's a crazy man in the audience, and you're someone that's on stage.
Yeah, but I mean, she doesn't deny it, I guess.
That's true.
Part of it. She's just kind of like, ooh, yeah, I suppose. But yeah, so at this point, she's been exposed. Her life is ruined. And Luke is pissed. And, you know, they walk off stage and he's like, what? You lied to me about everything. It's like, you know, you never asked her if she was in debt. But I guess she never told you she was. It was kind of, he was like, everything you've ever told me is a lie. And I was like, not really. But I guess. But, you know, he's all mad and is like, have a good life or whatever. And, yeah, things are no longer good between the two. And she goes home, and of course she's very upset because she just got exposed and her boy toy over here is mad at her. And when she gets home, you know, Susan's like, oh, come here, girl, I'm so sorry. But then, as she's about to get into the building, some random lady walking down the street is wearing the very specific to her bridesmaid's dress. So it was very clear that Rebecca had given away the bridesmaid's dress, and Suze was like,
Heartbroken.
she was very heartbroken. But the thing is, like, there genuinely, like, was a very legitimate reason that she didn't have the dress anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this was a plot point that could have been easily avoided. Like, she could have gone home to Susan and been like, hey, can you spot me literally $20? This weird shit just happened at Shopaholics Anonymous. I need to buy the dress back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But anyways, this is the part of the movie, you know, where everything's falling apart. So now her friendship's falling apart because Susie's so mad at her. How dare she give away the dress? And her addiction to shopping has done it this time. And
she has hit rock bottom.
Oh, she has.
She's hit rock bottom so hard that she's like, I need to take care of this Derek Smith guy, and I need to go ask my parents for money. So
yeah,
she goes to ask her parents for money, and they go, we have been saving so well our entire lives. And guess what? We have a small fortune. And do you know what we're going to do with it?
What are they
you think we're going to give it to you? No, no, no. We already spent all the money that we saved our entire lives, and we bought an RV.
Yeah. Well, technically, actually, that I must have missed that scene because that scene actually happens earlier in the movie when like the tension's building. Mm-hmm. But that is an important part that like, yeah, her parents are there and they bought an RV. Mm-hmm. They bought an RV, so she's not able to get any financial help from them. But at this point, her parents then do roll up in said RV and are just like, you're at rock bottom, aren't you, girl? Mm-hmm. And she basically just like gets in the RV with them and, you know, has some time with her family. And then the dad offers to sell the RV to help her out of debt, which is like so sweet. Mm-hmm. But she feels so bad. But yeah, like the RV means a lot to him. Mm-hmm. It was literally their whole entire life's worth of savings.
I am so Dear sorry God. If you can hear an airplane going through. I can't. Partially under the flight path. Well, my microphone might pick it up.
That's fair.
God, the MSP airport.
Oh, MSP. Why are you It's a good airport, though. It's a good airport. It's pretty fun. Yeah, so this is a pretty good one. I remember, like, one of the last times I was there, I saw there's a plaque in, like, one of the bathrooms that was, like, saying that's an award-winning bathroom. And I was like, how nice.
Interesting. Okay.
But, look at that. We are getting very close to wrapping this up, but while all of Rebecca's life is going downhill, Luke actually is then offered by the owner of the whole magazine company to have his own magazine because, oh my goodness, you did such a good job recruiting Rebecca. You should write. You should have your own. Did I say Rebecca?
No, in my brain I just keep saying Rebecca Jeanette.
So you just needed to say it out loud. You just needed it to be out there for everybody.
What was that video? This is a song by Rebecca Jeanette and Cher Lloyd.
I'm going to be singing Char Lloyd by Char Lloyd.
I'm going to
that one?
Yeah, or the one where the mom comes in and they're on the computer.
Which one of yes?
Which one of yes took a shot?
It was one of yes.
It wasn't me. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite videos on the internet.
It is a good one. It is.
We need to do a whole episode where we just analyze our favorite internet memes.
That would be amazing.
Because we've been around on the internet for quite some time.
We lived through the Vine era.
We did. And that brought a lot of content to our brains that's really stuck there forever.
It is forever in there, and I cannot get it out.
It's going to be there when we are geriatric.
Oh yeah, no, like the Vine of the old lady like banging on the bus doors to get in. That goes through my head like multiple times a week. It happens all the time.
What are you doing, dog? You're getting all wet.
Oh shit, dog.
Oh shit, dog.
Oh, such a good one. Such a classic.
There's so many classics.
Oh, such a good one. And, you know what's another totally off topic and definitely going to make us run a little long, but it's not even a Vine, but it's a like more recent video. Have you seen the video of the guy that's like selling Coca-Cola on the beach, and he's like dragging the cooler behind him, and he's like, Coca-Cola light,
Yes.
normal. Yes. That is forever in my brain. Not a Vine, but would have done great on the app. Would have absolutely done amazing.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I want to see him in real life. You think he's still there?
Too.
Can I track him down?
You can give it your darndest try.
Give it my best.
You sure can. You can do your best, but so Luke is offered this great opportunity. He actually rejects it and then decides to start his own magazine company as a whole instead. Mm-hmm. And while Rebecca's having this horrible moment, she actually is then offered by Alette herself to be a writer for Alette. However, she feels very torn about it because she kind of, at this point, has come to realize that Alette magazine as a whole is not very accessible, and like kind of realizes like how bad her debt really is. And because the column that she was offered to write was like, oh, affordable fashion, you could write about this shoe right here. And she's like, girl, that shoe was like $300. You guys don't really realize like how predatory fashion can be. And so she actually ends up rejecting the job that she had been wanting this whole entire movie. And then decides to sell off all of her clothes to repay her debt. And so then there's this scene.
Not logically something that could ever happen. $16,000 and you're never going to get that money back, even if you like sell all of it.
And my other thought is, when you bought everything full price, you went into $16,000 in debt. Now you're selling off like Prada and Gucci stuff for like $30 to make up for the full price that you paid. That's not going to add up, but yeah, movie magic. So she has this sale and basically sells off all of her clothes. All of the Shopaholics Anonymous people help her, and it's very much her come to Jesus moment. She even sells off the scarf. The green hot dog scarf. Oh, she sells it off. It actually gets auctioned off because, you know, she's a big deal now. This is the green scarf for the woman in the green scarf. But by doing all of that, it proves to Luke and it proves to him that she has changed. And she ends up making all of her money back from the one sale alone. She gets Luke back because he realizes that she's changed. And she then goes to Suze's wedding and was able to get the dress back from the random lady that had it because she gave that lady better clothes of her own. So that's how she like fixes all of those different problems. And in the end, when she pays back Derek Smith, she does it in pennies. She's just got a ton of drawers of pennies, and it is
amazing.
Iconic. It is absolutely iconic. And then I mean it very much ends with, you know, Suze and her are friends again. Luke and her are back together. She's no longer in debt and she is a changed woman.
Oh, who saw it coming?
You know, I would have said me. But apparently my brain's not big enough because it's not as big as Neville's.
Oh, no.
So, you know. I don't have an X-ray of my brain to prove it.
Dang.
I don't. But how did you feel about it? How did you feel?
You know, I'm going to give it a good 7.5 green scarves out of 10. Green scarves.
Fair enough. I'd honestly, I would echo the exact same thing. I would say 7.5 or 8 hot dog scarves.
8 hot dog scarves.
It was enjoyable.
Enjoyable.
It's one of those movies where it's like it is kind of stupid, but it's good stupid. And like there are plenty of different quotes and like little funny gag moments that we just don't really have the time to get into. But like it really was an enjoyable movie, and you know, it was a good combination of both stupid but good. It was a well produced, well done, good actors movie. Mm-hmm. So it all panned out. And you know what? She got the man. She got her bestie back. Whoa.
Whoa.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Are we going to watch the movie that I sent you on TikTok next, or is that too much?
Oh my God, we have to. We absolutely have to. You need to explain it just a little bit.
Okay. Well, first of all, I need to pull up our TikTok DMs real quick.
So Grace and I send each other the most random assortment of things on TikTok. We are both always on it, and it can go from like really goofy gay jokes. Usually it's about Glee. Sometimes it's about Twilight. And then other times it's like, I don't even know how you would describe it. Grace trying to call me out usually.
We're just both so silly and goofy and crazy and unique and quirky that we send each other like crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff.
I would say a good amount of them have to do with Glee. However, a TikTok did cross my TikTok For You page by
Mac and Bradley.
Macon. All credit to you, sir. Where he brings up a movie called The Velocipaster. This is quite the hard shift from our typical stupid rom-com straight movie. But I really am so curious. I don't want to say too much ahead of time, but it is called The Velocipaster. And it is on Amazon. And I believe it is what we'll be watching next. And
yes, because according to our DMs, I said, we have her too.
Yeah. So we have her too. What do you, we have her. We have her to do it. Clearly you were so excited you left a typo. So it's what's next. Get ready, y'all.
Velocipaster.
I have a very bad feeling about this, but it is going to be entertaining.
Oh my God. Here we go.
It is going to be entertaining.
Well,
here we go.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you later.